I need to explain to you why I think we have a life-changing setup where we can make a lot of money during these next couple of months. Today, I want to talk about how I am positioned for these next upcoming months, what we can expect from alts now that Bitcoin has put in a new all-time high, and how much money you can realistically make in 2025. I haven't uploaded for a whole month because there's been nothing to say until now. Please keep in mind, nothing I say in this video is financial advice. So Bitcoin has just put in a new all-time high. This should come as no surprise, at least for my followers, as I made this prediction back a couple of weeks ago in June. After some sideways action, we saw a little bit of tariff pause FUD, leading to this small dip here as expected. But it seems like the market has mostly priced in the tariff FUD by now. Next up was the all-time high for Bitcoin, which we have cleared. Shortly after, we saw Ethereum hit my $3,000 target for this month. So everything so far is going as predicted. Make sure to follow my Twitter to not miss these predictions. Now, the only missing component of my prediction is that alts would start to move around this time, which they have, but that we might have to wait a couple of weeks to see an altcoin rally. On a more broader time frame, although I'm generally not a huge advocate for setting time frames for altcoin pumps, because time is really on your side when it comes to altcoins, but these last couple of months of the post-halving year have historically been extremely bullish, not only for Bitcoin, but for altcoins as well. And I don't think we have enough evidence to deny the 4-year cycle at this point. Therefore, it gives us no valid reason to doubt an altcoin rally is coming. Having said this, it seems like people are still extremely bearish. So you gotta wonder, why are they bearish now? Why are they bearish when we might only have a few months left of the cycle where we traditionally have seen the biggest pumps? Couple this with rate cuts incoming, BBB, M2 pumping, centralized exchanges, supply is decreasing, whales accumulating, and now a Bitcoin new all-time high. In my last video, I talked about the sentiment being mostly bad for altcoins, as the altcoin Bitcoin chart has been the worst it has been across all cycles, and that Bitcoin holders, in fact, have been ecstatic given that Bitcoin's performance is extremely good. Lately, only over the last couple of weeks, I've noticed that this is no longer the case. You now have Bitcoin just hitting a new all-time high, and the hype is just simply not there. And you can also see this from a very valid, also easily quantifiable social metric, which is the Coinbase rankings. Even today, new all-time high, we haven't even broken top 10 yet in financial apps. Even the Bitcoin YouTube channels solely focusing on Bitcoin, which means the audience is probably mostly holding Bitcoin, is getting half the views they were getting just a couple of weeks back. This was even when Bitcoin was trading at a much lower price compared to where it's at today. Ask yourself, how many people outside of this crypto, YouTube, Twitter sphere have you heard talk about a new all-time high for Bitcoin? When I talk about this with my friends that don't invest, they still think Orange Man has completely ruined everything in the market. It seems like people are on complete autopilot. This could be due to a lot of factors like, for instance, summer holidays, but more so I think media is still trying to keep everyone fearful until it's too late to do so, and the numbers cannot be ignored, and they are forced to buy on the way up, leading to a much bigger rally. A lot bigger than I think people are prepared for. Before we talk about this rally and what I expect from it in the upcoming months, and trust me, you are going to like what I have to say, I want to discuss my portfolio because I have some really important things that I need to clarify. So this is how my portfolio is currently looking. These 3 coins, being Ethereum, Solana, and stablecoins, is also why my portfolio is doing quite well. There was a period where my portfolio was actually quite a lot down, primarily because of ETH, but now I'm in profit again, and this is because, excluding stablecoins, when 50% of my portfolio is now in good profit, that carries a lot of the remaining 50%. And even though the remaining 50% is filled with big caps, mid caps, and lower caps that I think will do well, I have been in crypto long enough to be 100% sure that some of them will fail. That's the nature of this game. You just have to admit that. People often ask me to review their portfolio consisting of only lower caps, and then they get surprised when I tell them that I think there is a bigger chance they will lose money this cycle rather than end up in profit, simply because the odds are stacked against you. This does not mean that you cannot hold lower caps. I also hold a couple of gems that I think will do very well. But if you have been following this channel, and especially if you're in my group, you know the importance of stacking safety net picks that will carry your portfolio most likely either way, no matter what happens with the lower caps. In my case, I've chosen ETH and Solana. As you can see, I've been able to scoop up a lot of Ethereum between the prices of 1500 and 2000 when everyone said Ethereum would get replaced by some Ethereum killer. I also think Solana is undervalued at this point. I still think it has an easy 3x from these levels. In my next video, I will be talking about specific coins that are still worth picking up because there are definitely some gems that have not started to move yet. So make sure to subscribe to not miss those videos. But the reason why I've focused so much on stacking safety nets was all part of my plan that is going to play out over the next couple of months. My plan is to rotate my way out of this. I'm using this rotation as an exit strategy by taking somewhere around 50% profit every single time I sell and then look to invest the remaining 50%. These percentages vary a lot. This could, for instance, be 90 to 10 or 10 to 90, depending on what coins I'm selling and which coins I'm buying. But the whole point is that I will slowly decrease my holdings while compounding the gains. This is how I did it last cycle, worked out really well, and I see no reason why it won't be an equally valid strategy this cycle. The beauty of this strategy is that you don't really need a full-blown alt season for it to work. And many people ask me, how is this possible? Because everything will pump at once. But the thing is, everything doesn't pump at once. This is a narrative-driven cycle, meaning that things will pump at different times. We saw this very clearly when we had the Q4, Q1 pump of 2023 and 2024 respectively. Now, will you be able to perfectly time it and position yourself so that you can take advantage of every single narrative pump that is coming? Of course not. But if you can catch only a few of these, say 3 of them, and say that you have a 4x return on all of them, which is absolutely within the realms of possibilities, you're essentially looking at a 64x in this example. If you want to be a part of this, see how I do this and what gems I will be buying, check out the Discord, link in description. So the final important part of this video is going to be me discussing what we as altcoin holders can realistically expect from the later half of this post-halving year. I've been very adamant about the fact that now that Bitcoin has reached a new all-time high, that it's very important that it continues going. Why I say this is important is because I do not believe alts will bother holding Bitcoin's hand unless Bitcoin convinces the altcoin market that this isn't just Bitcoin poking its head over the previous all-time high, but actually embarking on a rally that lasts for at least a couple of months. We did not have to wait for this in previous cycles, and even not in the earlier stages of this cycle, but this is obviously the reality we're facing right now. But the thing is, Bitcoin has now put in a solid candle above its previous all-time high, and if we now see Bitcoin keeping this momentum going, breaking 120K, 130K, 140K, and so forth, over the course of the weeks ahead, we should expect alts to really pick up. I want to make this very clear. This does not mean that we cannot see corrections along the way. If we go back and check the November, December pump of last year, we did see a couple of pullbacks at around 10%. So this is to be expected. Having said all of this, I do believe Bitcoin is due for a decently sized rally that could last for a couple of weeks or months, leading Bitcoin to hit targets up to the levels of 150K. And there's an infinite amount of indicators that I could show you to back up my claim, but I will keep it simple. I want you all to pay attention to the Fear and Greed Index because right now we're sitting at 67 at the time of me recording, which puts us in greed. But if you compare this to the previous highs, we still have long ways to go. And the thing I want you to focus on is what has previously happened when both the Fear and Greed and Bitcoin have consolidated for a lengthy period, for then Bitcoin to hit a new all-time high. This is exactly what happened back in November of 2024. After all of this, when Bitcoin broke its previous high, we saw more or less the same fear and greed as we see today. What happened after this is that Bitcoin had to put in another 33% for the fear and greed to reach extreme greed, which it held for about a month. If we were to see this 33% gain measured from where we broke the previous all-time high, this would put Bitcoin at more or less 150K. And you might think this is not possible, but just look at Bitcoin over the last couple of days. The road to 150K can easily be cleared in a couple of weeks. If Bitcoin hits this target along the way here, I'd be very surprised if we haven't seen a mega rally for alts. That's why I need you to lock in for these last couple of months here. Make sure you're holding the right coins and that you're taking profit when you have the chance. It might not feel like it now, but I'm not kidding. You can make life-changing money these next couple of months. In my Discord, I will help you with all of this. Our coins are pumping a lot right now, but there are still a few ones that I think are worth getting into at current levels. Prices will more than double, so get in now to lock in this price. I'll see you there. Take care and stay safe.